everyone, this is Casual Fanatic.
Film reviews without the shoes.
I'm Luca, your casual viewer.
And I'm Cayman, your fanatic.
What's up, Cayman?
What's up, Luca?
What are you doing?
I don't know.
Dude, you got some energy. You got some energy. Give me some of those vibes, dude.
Let me just pass my vibes to you.
Nice.
It's pretty nice day today. It's 58 degrees, sunny.
Whoa. 58?
Yeah.
Damn, that's nice. Yeah, we have 50 here.
It's not bad
Nice,
either.
Sunny. Yeah, that's not too bad, bro. But like in about 1, 2, 3, 4, in 4 days, it's going to be -1.
Ouch.
Yeah. But currently it is beautiful weather. Beautiful weather.
Our next below freezing day is this upcoming Friday. So we got a little bit.
Yeah,
it's
you
gonna be
have a little bit.
Looks like it's gonna be a really rainy week here though.
And when you say below freezing, do you mean like your lowest temperature is going to be below freezing on Friday for the first time again?
Yeah, like the high for that day is still 51, but during the night it'll get down below freezing.
Dude, today the low's 29, tomorrow 28, the next day 32, the next day 5, the next day
Wednesday, it says Wednesday is a low of 59.
Bro, what? We have snow on Wednesday.
Freaking hot on Wednesday.
That is hot, dude. Yeah, we have snow, about a 70% chance of snow. So I have that to look forward to. But you're coming over here, what, in a month, right? No, literally next week.
Yeah, like not this week. Yeah, it's 2 weeks from next week. Well, I don't know what people mean when they say next. It's not like I'm not leaving tomorrow.
Right. Not like this up like a week as in 7 days.
Right. A week from now, I will be headed there. Yeah,
dude. What are you doing in the Denver area? I know you're not visiting me.
Yeah, obviously. I'm actually gonna avoid you the whole time.
That'd be hilarious.
But
like, oh yeah, by the way, dude, I came to Denver, but I already left. Sorry.
Stopping by for a work trip. Gotta take some photos and measurements and all that fun stuff. There's 2 stores we're scoping. One is like proper in Denver and the other one's in Aurora.
Yeah, dude, that's awesome. That'll be a lot of fun. I think I know which one is in Denver that you're going to go to.
You think so?
And it's a superstore and it's massive.
Yeah.
Massive.
Well, yeah. I don't know. I think actually the Aurora store we're doing is bigger than the Denver one.
Wait, really?
I'll have to double check. One of them is very large though.
Okay. Yeah, maybe I don't know. We'll see. One of them the one that I'm thinking of is like right by a Home Depot, I believe, like across the street from Home Depot.
It's possible. I don't know. It's been a while since I looked at it, but yeah, I already got the plane and rental car and hotel and all that stuff booked, so it's a done deal.
That's awesome. Let's go. Huge. Yeah, so I'll see you soon. But till then, how have you been, dude?
Been pretty good. Still wrapping up that big project that I talked about before. Got a little bit left to do on that. But other than that, everything's going smooth. Elena's sister just had a baby. I want to say
huge
4 days ago.
Massive, yeah.
So just been,
that's awesome.
Been hanging out.
What's the baby's name?
Otis.
I
went up and visited them this morning. Sat and talked. Baby's super cute. Yeah. Sleeping most of the time.
How's the baby?
Sleeping and eating.
Sleeping. Yeah. Adorable.
Sleeping, eating, and pooping. The 3 things babies do.
Yep. Can you tell that they've changed a little bit now that they have the child in their hands, or is it something they were like already fully prepared for and like didn't really need a change for?
I mean, I don't know that anyone's fully prepared for a kid, but like they were obviously they've had 9 months to get ready for it. So
yeah. Well, that's awesome, man. I'm super happy for them. Super stoked. What do you think of the baby's name? Do you like it? Because I know they kept it a secret from you. That's what you said last time.
It's a secret. Yeah, it's cute.
Yeah, it's a cute name. Yeah, so I'll just kind of go off of my end. I don't remember if I said this last time on the podcast, but I got a motorcycle.
Yeah, I think you did mention that last time.
Okay, perfect. And the motorcycle now is made street legal.
Perfect.
Yeah, so I got all that paperwork done. So I've ridden it on the street maybe 2 times, but not like with good weather yet. So like I'm excited after this to go out and ride around, and then I'm gonna go to a buddy's place where actually Sydney and we slept over at my buddy's place
Oh yeah.
earlier, or like last night, because he's doing like the dog sitting thing, and the place that he's staying at is like a $4 million house.
Nice.
And he has a few of those, so whenever he's there, we just kind of go over and hang out and, you know, play video games, make food. Yeah, and last night we made like sirloin steak, dude. So good. It was so good.
That sounds good.
Yeah, dude, amazing. So yeah, just gonna kind of be hanging out today, having a good time, and seeing what comes up. And Sydney and I also, we went to like a disco on Friday night, I believe. Yeah, Friday night we went to a disco, and then the day after that we went up to Winter Park to see some of her family that came into town for ski vacation. And yeah, that's about it with me.
Cool. Sounds like we've both had a pretty fun week.
Yeah, I'd say so. Besides me working like almost 60 hours.
How's work going?
Oh, work's going amazing. I absolutely love it. We had a pretty hard deadline on Friday to get a pricing package out, and we luckily, usually I don't work Fridays, but I obviously worked this Friday, and we were supposed to have the package handoff at 5, and it didn't go out till 7:30. So it was a bit stressful for me and kind of tough because there were last minute changes, and I was waiting on my PA project architect to like give me the SketchUp model with like his changes that he had to add in there. I mean, that took a while. So like my work was just pushed off to like the very end, and it was a race to the finish line for sure, but I love it. It's great.
That sounds intense.
Yeah, no, it was definitely intense, but totally worth it in the end. Like the people that I was working on it with, like the two dudes I was working closely with it on it with, were like super awesome, great teammates. One of them had to go with his wife to the hospital to like do tests because they're expecting a baby as well. But yeah, so at the end it was just me and one of my other coworkers, but we got it done and situated and sent out the door. So, but besides all that fun stuff, what are we talking about today?
Today, Luca, we're talking about the 2022 movie Puss in Boots: The Last Wish.
Whoa.
It was directed by Joel Crawford, written by Paul Fisher, Tommy Swerdlow, and Tom Wheeler, and stars Antonio Banderas, Salma Hayek, and Harvey Guillen. That's how I'm going to say that name.
Gwien?
Guillen.
Okay. Yeah. Okay. Cool. Next.
This movie, I believe it came out on Christmas. December 25th. It had a budget of $90 million and it made about $403 million. So pretty damn good.
That's really good. Yeah. I was one of the people that added to that. I saw it maybe on like the 28th and it was very good.
Did you see, because I had completely forgotten when this movie came out that there was another Puss in Boots movie in 2011.
Oh, the one that they had on Netflix. I never saw it, but everyone that I've talked to said that it was a bad movie.
Oh, interesting. Yeah, I also never saw it. I completely forgot that it existed.
Yeah. I mean, I knew of it, but I just also knew that it was not apparently the best. It's on Netflix if anyone wants to go watch it, but I don't know. I just haven't heard the best things about it.
Yeah, that is, I believe that movie is where we are first introduced to Kitty Softpaws, but her character returns in this movie.
Yeah, I mean, even without seeing the first movie, they kind of introduce her anyway.
Yeah, you don't really need to see the first movie in order to understand this. It just like establishes their relationship a bit more.
Yeah, exactly.
But yeah, how did you feel about Puss in Boots?
I thought it was a great watch. It felt like a huge hardcore big time throwback to the Shrek days for me. Just graphic style or animation style. I thought the style that they used, granted not exactly like Shrek, I know, but the different types of animation and graphic design and whatnot that they used in this movie was just phenomenal.
I agree.
Yeah. What did you think about the movie?
I thought it was really good. I had heard a lot of good things about it. But yeah, it was fantastic.
Wow. Okay. That's a pretty good review coming from you.
From me.
I don't know if any other movie that you're like, yeah, this one was fantastic,
We've done really good movies before. I may not have used that specific word, but
exactly.
That doesn't. I don't think like I don't know. I'd have to look back at all of the movies we've talked about, but I would doubt that this is my favorite.
Yeah, I know. But in like animation movie style wise,
yeah, it's a great animated movie. Lot of different like things going on, you know?
Yeah, there's like a lot of different styles of animation that they used in this movie that they then combined to make it, I don't know, dramatic for different types of scenes that were happening for the viewers. It's really cool.
Yeah. Before we get too into detail, let's take a second and step into the boxing ring.
Let's do this. I believe it is unfortunately my turn to go first, unless I'm wrong.
I don't know. Do you still have your thing you've been keeping track of it on?
Yes, I know it's my turn. I know it. I just wanted to see if you wanted to go first. All right. Well, let me do this thing. Gotta get my head straight here first.
All right.
Puss in Boots, the most famous wanted criminal, is faced with a dilemma of dealing with his last life, having prior to always laughed in the eyes of death. He faces death in the shadows while teaming in order to hopefully make a last-ditch effort to wish his lives back.
Okay.
Your turn.
I'll say, after discovering that he is on the last of his 9 lives, Puss in Boots leaves his life of adventure and goes on a quest to get his lives back by finding the last wish.
All right, let's hear the real deal.
Alrighty, this says, Puss in Boots discovers that his passion for adventure has taken its toll. He has burned through 8 of his 9 lives, leaving him with only 1 life left. Puss sets out on an epic journey to find the mythical last wish and restore his 9 lives.
Yeah, I think you win this one, fair and square.
That felt very repetitive. I feel like they just said the same thing like 2 different ways.
Yeah. I know. They didn't say anything about like someone was chasing him. They didn't say anything about like him banding together with other people. They said 9 lives twice. They said adventure once or twice. They said
adventure and then they said journey.
Yeah, basically the same shit.
Yeah.
And then there was another thing that they said twice or 3 times.
Oh, and also, yeah, it says he burned through 8 of his 9 lives, leaving him with only 1 life left. Like, as if we can't do math.
Right.
What's 9
so
minus
dumb.
8?
4, like he said.
Honestly.
That was like a little spoiler, but no one knows.
All right.
Alrighty,
I guess I'll take that one.
No, yeah, you definitely do. So I'm just upset they didn't mention anything about death, like even low key.
I feel like that's sort of like a not supposed to know from the beginning thing.
Yeah, but like I didn't say anything about like what death is. I just said he's faced with death, right?
I mean, yeah, I suppose, but that's probably why they didn't say it.
I know, but that's lame. Anyway, alrighty. Well, you get this one.
All right. Well, we will take a quick break and then we will come back and get into our serious feelings.
Let's do this.
And we're back.
We are back, everyone. And it is time for the spoiler alert.
Spoiler!
Humans and animals and anyone watching or wanting to watch this movie.
Talking cats, bears, dogs.
Yeah, cats, bears, dogs. This is the spoiler section. If you do not want this movie spoiled, do not listen.
And we're back. This is the spoiler start. So where do we begin?
I would like to, I guess this isn't really like a comment directly on the movie itself, but I really don't like the new DreamWorks intro.
Which one is that?
Like the OG intro is like just the little kids sitting on the moon fishing.
Oh yeah.
But now they have like this whole thing where it like zooms through and you see like all the different DreamWorks characters and like Shrek is sitting on a hill and then it like, I don't know, it's this whole thing and I didn't like it.
Oh, I didn't even realize that there was a difference. Yeah, that's kind of funny.
But obviously, that's not the movie's fault.
Yeah, it's not a huge deal. That's just kind of
something I
rebranding, I guess.
noticed. Yeah.
Yeah. It opens basically with Puss in Boots doing his thing, dancing, drinking, having a good time, partying.
Yeah.
Really just making like us as a viewer already like super engaged with the movie. And I think that was a great opener to really get that Puss in Boots attitude out there of I'm the best, I'm a badass, this is how life should be.
I really liked you had mentioned the like art style before, but everything in this movie, I loved the like hand painted look that everything had. Whereas I feel like in the Shrek movies, everything is like kind of not realistic, but like more realistic than how it is here. Like everything looks like it has like brush strokes on it and all that stuff. And I really like that style.
Yeah, I agree. It's like a matted brush style look. It's like I don't know, like there were those Snapchat filters out at one point where you kind of looked like an anime character, and it had the brush strokes that you could apply to the filter and whatnot. Yeah, that's exactly how it looked. It's like you said, it's pretty cool, and the way that they made the movie, I don't know, it's like a cross between Shrek and like an anime almost. Like,
well, yeah. And speaking of the so during the intro, there is he fights a giant rock monster, and I feel like that fight sequence was like almost ripped straight from like Attack on Titan.
Oh, I can't talk into that. I have no idea.
Well, for any of our listeners, if you've seen Attack on Titan and then you go and watch this movie, you'll recognize some of the action in that first scene.
I mean, is that a bad thing?
I mean, no, it was great, and I think it shows that there is a lot of things that like a lot of just the way that they like move the camera around and the way that characters move. There are things that they do in Eastern animation that are not typically done in Western animation, and I think that we are kind of missing out on a bit of that, perhaps.
Like what? What do you suspect that we're missing out on?
Well, I don't know if I can like describe it in like specifics because I'm not a computer animator, but like it just like the way that like perspective is shown is different, and it heightens like motion, and you like even in like still frames you can like feel things happening just because of the way that it's animated.
Interesting. Yeah. So my sister's a graphics designer, and she like really wants to start with animation, and she's like super into all that stuff. And when I saw the movie in theaters, she afterwards, like she came to me and she was like talking to me about like all the different styles that they had incorporated into this movie and all that jazz. So I wish I would have like, you know, paid a little bit more attention to what she was saying or even understood what she was saying. But basically around the lines of like, the way they shot this movie was one, fantastic, and two, there were like multiple different styles. Yeah. And then she was like explaining to me how they made the styles. Super cool. So if you ever want to read up on like animation, visual graphics, and motion graphics, this is a great movie to look into.
And one thing that I did notice, and it's something that is not entirely new, but is definitely not something that a lot of 3D animated like movies would do, but they did it a little bit in Into the Spider-Verse, but there's something called animating on twos, which they did here in all of the action sequences. Everything was like things only moved every 2 frames instead of being different every frame. So it like creates a little bit of like a choppier motion instead of being like really smooth.
Right.
But it really, I think that helps to emphasize the action. And you can tell on the in-between scenes when like, if like in the scenes where Puss in Boots is just like walking through the forest, that's animated on 1s, but then a fight breaks out and all of a sudden is animated on 2s.
Right. Yeah. She was saying something with numbers and different frame rates too. So you're on the right track. But yeah, no, I think filming the fight scenes in 2s is such a good way to do it, just because to me, when I saw something like that, it made it feel faster to me, although there were less frames rendered.
Right. That's what I was saying, I guess, about like feeling the motion more. Because like I think the reason people don't do that as much with 3D animation is because when you have a computer, you can just like it's like it's easier to like in this frame he's gonna do this, and then you just like click and drag the arm a little bit, and it's like, oh, in the next frame his arm moved a little bit. But with like hand drawn animation, you have to redraw the entire thing for every single frame. So if you can just like reuse the same frame twice, then that like cuts down on animation time.
Yeah. No, I feel you. I mean, in some instances, yes, they would have to redraw the entire frame, but sometimes I know Walt Disney did this back in the day too. Like they would have like the clear, basically stencils that they would overlay on either backgrounds or whatnot. So you just need to draw like the one character or the thing that's moving differently each time.
Well, but if it's super clear, then like you would still see I guess the frame underneath it. You know what I mean?
No, but maybe.
Like if you have like, if you're trying to animate like someone waving and you have like on one frame their hand is on the right side of the screen and then on the next frame their hand is on the left side. But if it was clear, then you would still see their hand on the right side as well. So you'd have to figure out a way to cover that up.
Right. Well, no, because it would be a different stencil each time. So let's say just your hand is moving. That means like you would have the body without the hand, and then you'd put a stencil of the hand on the right side and then the stencil of the hand on the left side.
I see what you mean.
Yeah. And they did that a lot for like early, anything like Donald Duck, like Goofy and, all that jazz. They did it there. But, times have changed and they don't really do that much anymore. It's kind of like stop motion films nowadays where they have like characters and they move them and take pictures of each scene. And that's exactly how this is done. But
I think that does like, I feel like that trick really only works if like most of the frame isn't changing. Do you know what I mean?
Yeah.
Because like if you have to change everything,
I agree for sure. Then you might as well just redo everything.
Yeah.
No, it's definitely a lot of work. Don't get me wrong.
But yeah, I think animating on twos is a technique that comes from hand-drawn animation and is very interesting when you see it in 3D animation.
Yeah. But I mean, hands down, this movie definitely shows off some major skills and knowledge of how to do these different sequences in different time frames and whatnot. So besides, the visual graphics, what did you think of the audio, the music that we would hear every now and then, and the sound effects?
I thought it was good. I think the musical number in the first scene was it kind of grew on me after a while. I feel like when I first started watching it, I was like, I don't know. It's kind of like it's an all right song, but it's simple enough that it just like the tune gets caught in your head a little bit.
Wait, which song was that?
The Fearless Hero song, the one that he's singing in the beginning. Okay.
Yeah, no, I mean, it's definitely a tune, a good jam.
Yeah. And it comes back later in the movie too. And it's like his adventure song.
Yeah. There was also one song in the movie. I don't exactly know where it is, but it's Por qué te vas. It's by Gabby Moreno.
Okay.
And that song to me was just a banger. I added it to a few of my Spotify playlists. So
nice.
Hands down. That was, I think they used really good, like one good music songs that they could incorporate. And again, like you said, the numbers that they wrote for the movie were pretty good. And then I also think just the audio and effects that they included were also, it just worked. There was never a point in the movie where like I got like a negative feeling or something just didn't add up in my head or ears.
Yeah.
So that's a good thing.
I will say there is they also like fairly regularly will just like switch back and forth between English and Spanish. And
yeah, without subtitles again.
Yeah, I feel like obviously bonus content for Spanish speaking audience members, I guess, but I had subtitles on when I was watching, and every time they spoke Spanish it just said speaking Spanish. I was like, come on.
I'm saying, bro, there were some times where I was like, I could like, Google translate this real quick, but I was just too lazy to do it. So like you said, bonus to those like fluent speaking Spanish folk out there.
What did you think about, let's run down through our villains real quick, starting with the Goldilocks and the Three Bears.
Baby Bear, Papa Bear, Mama Bear, and Goldilocks.
Yeah.
I thought those characters were like funny. I don't know, like Papa Bear was like this bear with one eye missing, like a scratch through it, and then he was wearing like a scarf. And then Mama Bear, she had like this French hat on. I don't know what they're called.
A beret.
Like a little beret on. And then Baby Bear, it looked like he had like a chain with like forks and like doorknobs and whatnot on it. I don't know. I liked them a lot. And then of course comes Goldilocks, and she was just she was an interesting character. Kind of reminds me of what I would call one of the people in real life that like likes crystals and whatnot, because she was wearing like a ton of jewelry and her hair was crazy and she like carried the staff. But like as a whole, I think they worked well with each other. I liked the drama that they had, the history, as well as like the mama and Papa Bear kind of like being the mom and dad of the two kids.
Yeah. I think I was a little thrown off at first, and I think it's hilarious that they're all like Cockney speakers. But obviously when they don't, the bears themselves don't talk for a decent amount of time. Like when you first meet them, they are like almost just wild animals. And
really,
yeah, because there's like that scene where it's like storming outside, and you see Goldilocks roll up with the three bears, and they're all on all fours, and they're just like growling and stuff and not actually saying anything.
Oh yeah, true. But I mean, you could tell that they understood what Goldilocks was saying.
Yeah.
But yeah, for sure. I guess they weren't speaking much at the intro.
But I also thought it was kind of strange, and I think you can kind of get away with it a little bit because they were background characters before, but the three bears actually already appeared in the first Shrek movie.
First Shrek movie?
Yeah, but they didn't have any speaking parts. It was just like a background gag. But in the first Shrek movie, if you remember,
I was watching the first Shrek movie literally last night.
Yeah,
but I was so tired that I barely was asleep. I was basically asleep.
You remember in the beginning of Shrek, they have they're like locking up all of the fairy tale characters and like putting them in cages.
Yeah.
There's a shot where you can see Papa Bear and Mama Bear in one cage, and then Baby Bear is in a smaller cage, and then it's just a quick shot of them, and then later on in the movie, after all of the creatures escape, and they're all like gathered around a campfire, and you can see Papa Bear and Baby Bear like hugging each other and crying, and you're like, oh, like what happened? And then later on, when it shows, there's a shot of inside Lord Farquaad's castle, and he has a bearskin rug that looks exactly like Mama Bear.
Yes. Oh my God. Yeah, I remember that.
So
yo, that was like super low key.
Yeah.
Holy smokes.
So technically the three bears have already appeared in the Shrek universe, but
one of them came back alive.
Kind of got retconned a little bit here because these are like very different portrayals of them.
Yeah. I think it's interesting though that they kind of literally brought in Shrek the movie again, because at the very end of the movie they were like sailing and they were like, we're gonna go see some old friends, and then it showed like an island with like a Hollywood style sign saying far, far away.
Well, and even before that, there's one of the scenes where like Puss is like his life is flashing before his eyes, and he sees himself like walking with Shrek and Donkey in one of the flashes.
Oh my God, that is so funny. I didn't know that they were like that closely related, the two movies, but I mean, it makes sense that they are.
Yeah, well, because Puss in Boots first appeared in Shrek 2. Right,
and he was a badass in Shrek 2.
Yeah, and then he became a fan favorite, so they were like, you know what, we can have a movie with just him.
Yeah. What were your thoughts on Big Jack Horner?
Jack was like kind of silly. I was interested in like all of the different magical items that he was collecting, and obviously they're like, you could tell all of them were like, they were all Disney things, but like just different enough from a Disney thing that it wasn't like a copyright stuff, you know?
Yeah.
Like he had like a Mary Poppins bag, but they never call it a Mary Poppins bag. He says like it's like a magical nanny bag.
Yeah. They walked a fine line.
Yeah, and then my favorite one was the cricket. That was like supposed to be Jiminy Cricket, but it's just like I don't even think it's a cricket in the movie. Or they never say cricket. It's just like
they say
it's
cockroach.
just a bug. Yeah, but I think that was just like someone saying cockroach because they don't know. I don't know. It might have been an actual cockroach. It was like green though, and cockroaches aren't usually green.
Yeah. Well, at the very end, the bear was like, "Get the cockroach off my nose," or something like that. So
but yeah, I thought
they named it cockroach at least.
The bug was one of my favorite things because it just him constantly like as Jack Horner is just like letting all of his like employees die and he's like, I don't care, and the bug's like, oh my god, you're a monster.
Yeah. The bug was a really good addition to the movie. It added like a lot of little flavor to a Jack Horner's character. But yeah, no, I'm kind of there with you. He was like a little bit creepy, but I liked how they put like his past into this movie. Like there's a lot of character development that went into Jack Horner.
Yeah.
So that you understood his persona.
Yeah, I liked the flashback where he's like trying his best to put on a show and then it cuts over and everyone's going to see Pinocchio instead.
Yeah. And he was pissed. He was like, I've been a live boy the whole time. Yeah, I think let me see. Oh man, there was one flashback that Jack had that I really enjoyed, but it's evading my mind right now. But yeah, I don't know. Good funny character, I would say.
Yeah.
What did you think about the wolf, aka Death?
Yeah, so when we're first introduced to the wolf, they like kind of make it seem like he's just like a bounty hunter because he like has the wanted poster for Puss.
Right. Where he points at the word death or dead.
And they like have this like pretty amazing fight, and that's sort of when Puss in Boots like realizes, because that's another thing with the song that he sang in the beginning. Part of the song was him bragging about, oh, I've never been touched by a blade. And then during his fight with the wolf, he like cuts his head open and you like see a drop of blood trickle down, and Puss is like, oh, okay.
Yeah, and honestly, like with all the fighting that happened in the movie, and I don't know what rating the movie is, but when you got that close-up shot of his forehead and the blood kind of trickled down, I was like, I wonder what the rules are on that. Like how much blood can you show and how? Because right when they showed the blood trickling down, when they zoomed out, it was just like a little scratch on his forehead.
It's rated
There's no
PG.
more blood. Yeah, right. So like, I was like, wonder how close of a line they were walking, putting that in there.
Yeah, I don't know. Cause they like, there's quite a lot of death, like actual death in this movie.
I mean, yeah, there is. Yeah.
Like we have like a whole the whole baker's dozen like falls off a cliff and dies.
It dies. Yeah. I mean, they don't show anything. They just like, kind of show people falling and not really.
Yeah.
But that's like the only bloody scene I think that there was.
Yeah, I think as far as I remember, that's the only time there was actual blood. And so maybe that's the difference is like, yeah, people can die as much as you want as long as it's not any blood. I don't know.
Yeah, maybe.
But I will say, I think they did a great job. The wolf is like genuinely scary. Like I feel like if you were a little kid watching that's terrifying.
Yeah, I think the wolf was like one of the best parts of the movie for me. Like the red eyes and like just the sense of like fear and dread around this character, and like the zoom ins and all that stuff, like blacking out the surrounding like that. I mean, it was well done.
Yeah. And it looks like so the person who voiced the wolf, his name is Wagner Maura. I don't know I don't pronounce anyone's last names correctly, but it looks like he played Pablo Escobar on the Narcos series.
Wait, really?
Yeah.
Interesting.
And he's got quite a good amount of credits here. I haven't watched a lot of them, and it looks like a lot of them are like Spanish movies and TV shows, like nothing that would have been released in America. But yeah, he had a like menacing voice,
but like in a crazy good way.
Yeah.
Yeah.
But yeah, I thought that was really nice. And He just like the way that he keeps showing up, and even like the first time when there's that like the shot with Puss in Boots is at the bar, and then he like turns and his hat covers up the mirror, and then when he turns back, the wolf is right next to him.
Yeah, dude. All of a sudden, this gigantic wolf was next to him, and they made him look massive.
Yeah.
What did you think about Kitty Softpaws?
I thought she was great. Like I said, I haven't seen the first Puss in Boots movie, so this is my only experience with her. But I thought I thought she was a good addition, and she plays really nicely off of like her energy and Puss's energy, like play very well together.
Yeah, I agree. I think it was like a nice surprise that like, because they were talking about something, we knew something had happened between the two of them, but we didn't know what. And then until like kind of like the backside of the movie, you understand like, oh my God, like they were going to get married.
Yeah.
To me, that was a little bit like, that was pretty crazy, but no, I think they worked super well with each other. And I liked her character a lot. I think the way she was animated was beautiful. I think she looked great. Yeah.
I thought it was interesting because I guess being a talking animal is like a special thing, because he goes to the like crazy cat lady home and none of the other cats talk. So it seems to be a unique ability that is not like, it's not like every cat can do that.
Yeah, true. I mean, whenever he was in that, what's her name?
The cat lady?
Mama Luna. No,
yeah.
It's Mama Luna?
I believe so, yeah.
Yeah. Like the first time we were introduced to her and he was there, he like did a cat meow and like all the cats started hissing at him and he was like, oh, like my bad. I didn't mean to say anything rude.
Yeah.
Interesting. Very interesting.
And then
Perito.
Yes, that's what I was about to say as well.
What did you think?
I thought he was like really sweet, and I feel like it's not maybe the most original character, because I feel like that's a pretty common thing to do, is like, oh, the main character is like super jaded, and then you have like a side character come along who's like happy about everything, and that like helps them get through their journey because of just the sheer like positive attitude. But I don't know, I think they pulled it off really well in this movie.
I would agree, dude. I think he was such a cute little innocent animated dog character that pretended to be a cat. He was besides the wolves, aka Death, I think Perito was my favorite character in this whole movie. I think he came across as like extremely likable and naive and just kind of like an idiot. And I liked that. Like, I liked that they put an idiot character in here that was just like, oh my God, like we're going to be best friends. Or like, he's like explaining the super sad story of his previous owners that tried to kill him because they put him in a sock with a weighted rock.
Yeah. Oh my God. Like, that was like a insane backstory. I was like, holy shit.
Yeah. And then you said this thing was PG. Like, I'm like, oh my God. So he talked about almost being murdered by the people that owned him. And he was just like, still like just so super happy about it because he just doesn't understand the reality of the situation.
Yeah.
But I think hands down, he was just a great, super cute character. He's the one that brought the good morals to this movie for me.
Yeah. And he keeps talking about like his goal is to become a therapy dog. And they even had, there was like, and I thought it was like, definitely was not expecting, but they had like a real life, like therapy dog moment when after one of Puss's encounters with the wolf, he has like a full-on panic attack, and then he's like in the forest and you can like hear his heart pounding, and then Perito comes and like just lays his head on his chest and he's like slows down. It's like that's real life.
No, yeah, that's like actually how it works. And I mean, at the very end of the movie, I think he was kind of basically saying that he was his therapy dog. But I guess you never really know. But yeah, I think Perito is one of those characters that like there were certain moments in the movie where like a lot of emotions swelled up for me just because of him.
Yeah.
I think that is all the characters that we have, right? Well, besides Puss in Boots. What'd you think of Puss in Boots?
Yeah, I mean, he's great as ever. He is. I mean, have you seen any of the Zorro movies?
No.
Highly recommend. If any, as for our audience as well, anyone who likes Puss in Boots, watch Zorro, because it's literally the same exact character.
Okay.
And it's also played by Antonio Banderas, and he does a great job.
Okay. That's a good suggestion. Should have saved that for the end of the movie or of our review.
Well, I'm getting my recommendation out early.
LOL.
Go watch Zorro.
Oh, that's a good one. Okay, good. Yeah, so I think that was like the whole cast list basically. I think everyone really did a fantastic job voicing their character and really getting their emotions across audibly.
Yeah, I would say so.
Yeah, perfect.
How did you feel about the Dark Forest?
I mean, I think it was a cool idea. The fact that like whoever touches the map, it changes to like either their like fear or their whatever haunts them, right?
Yeah.
But I mean, the movie kind of started off with it showing the star coming down and hitting the earth and the forest around it turning dark, although the star itself was life and color and beauty.
Yeah.
So like I'm over here like, why would a dark forest be born from the wishing star hitting the earth? That's kind of where I was at with that. But I mean, I think it was a cool idea to have it switching based off of who was touching the map. Yeah, I would say
I think it could have been a little better, because although, yeah, I think, like you said, the idea of it switching for different people was interesting, but I feel like it didn't really switch that much. Like even in the first time they're like touching the map, like when Puss is holding it, it's like the area in front of them changes into like a big lava area with stepping stones, and then Kitty Softpaws picks it up, and then it turns into like a big like acid swamp with stepping stones. But like it looked almost exactly the same. It was just swamp acid instead of lava.
Yeah. And then Perito touched it. It was like a rainbow road.
Yeah.
Yeah, I mean, like I feel like, I don't know, they could have definitely done something different with it. Maybe I don't know if like saying it was a dark forest was the best way to do it, but
well, I think that was more just a way to like, because if everyone knew that it was this like magical wishing forest, then there would be a lot more people there. But because it's the dark forest, it's like a way to keep people out.
But why make it a dark forest? Like there was obviously like this power ring around it that they had to jump through to get into it. So I'm over here like, well, why couldn't they just make it like the map leads them to the entrance? Then when they get into it, then shit changes around them. I don't know why the dark forest had to be a part of it.
To scare people.
Well, yeah, but I don't know if like, well, I guess to scare people would work, but there could have been a different lore. I don't know. I don't know.
That's all right.
Yeah, it was a mid. It was cool to watch, and I liked all the action that happened in it, but it was definitely a lot.
I do think it's funny that like all of the bars seem to only serve milk. Like it makes sense for Puss in Boots to be drinking milk, but then like all of the people are only drinking milk as well.
True. I mean, it's a PG film, so they had to do something, right?
Yeah.
It's spiked milk for the adults.
Oh, sure.
Yeah, I thought that was funny too. And then at one point, Puss in Boots was like what did he say? Extra creamy or something? Extra frothy?
Yeah, something like that.
And the bartender was like, that's the back. Like, like the good shit's in the back. Don't worry, I got you, bro. This frothy milk. But like when that was introduced, I did like that they gave it to Puss in Boots in like a shot glass, and then he looked down at it and he did like the cat licks, like you know. I thought that was a good addition to that whole scene.
Yeah, that was funny.
Yeah. What did you think about like that on the front end of the movie, that when the sleeping giant woke up, of the sleeping giant of Del Mar, when he woke up and all of that? What did you think of that whole scene?
Well, I think it's interesting that they just like have a sleeping giant. So that was I guess a bit caught me off guard, but like I was saying earlier, the fight sequence itself I thought was very anime-esque.
Yeah, absolutely. And then the end of it when Puss in Boots, like he was like, you want to see something cool? And he like, disappeared from the view and like the giant's bell knocked him out basically. I thought that was a great way to have that and show Puss in Boots's like smarts and I don't know, just like finesse when it gets to that kind of stuff.
How did you feel about all of Puss in Boots's other deaths?
Yeah, I mean, they were definitely funny. Like some of them were because he's a horny guy, a horny cat. And then some of them were just because like he's just an idiot. Like he's like cats always land on their feet. And we're like, okay, yeah, that's true, sure. And then he like jumps off a giant ass tower. Like it's just like,
well, they also like sort of
stuff.
Implied like it was like he was wearing the green hat, so you're like, oh, maybe it's like St. Patrick's Day, and he obviously looked like he was drunk.
Yeah.
And then I thought the funniest one was like super buff Puss in Boots, and he's like, I don't need a spotter.
Yeah, and then like I like though that for none of the deaths they actually showed impact of Puss in Boots. They just kind of in like a freeze frame
that's
showed
how you keep it
like
PG.
Exactly. But like in the freeze frame, they just kind of showed like either the bottle breaking or when he was like, I don't need a spotter. It kind of showed like his feet going up, implying that he got crushed by the weights. I don't know. I thought that whole sequence was great. I thought it was funny. And then he woke up and like met the doctor and he was like, hey, you're on your last life and all that jazz.
Yeah.
I thought it was great.
I also thought it was funny that he just like has a beard for like 70% of the film.
Honestly, that's where I was going next, of him growing the beard in this lady's house and like laying his old clothes to rest in like a grave. Yeah, I liked his beard, quite honestly. Like I thought, when he met Soft Paws, when they were trying to steal the map, she was like, what are you, a pirate?
Yeah. I definitely think he looks better without it, but it was funny.
Yeah, I mean it aged him a lot, but I agree. He definitely looked better without it. But I do like how like frazzled he started looking when he started hanging out with these other cats and like using the litter box and just eating the food with all the rest of them. I don't know. It was a good mid character development, I would say. Middle of the movie character development, not like it was a good character development.
I'm trying to think if there's anything we missed. I feel like, I don't know, I don't really have anything else that was like super stood out to me.
Yeah, no, I don't either. But I just kind of want to point out again with Perito, some of the lines that he said in this movie. What happened? When Perito was like following Puss in Boots after Puss in Boots told him like, hey, I'm going to do this quest and I'm going to be alone. Perito like at one point followed him without Puss in Boots knowing. Puss in Boots was like, go back home. And Perito was like, my home is where my friends are.
Yeah.
I was like, that line just got me. And then he had another one later on in the movie where like Perito wasn't only always nice. Like, I don't know if you remember that time where he was kind of kidnapped by the bears and they were all like dissing each other. And then Perito came in and he just destroyed them. And you don't exactly know what he said either, right?
Yeah, because like half of it's bleeped.
Yeah, exactly. And you can just read the facial expressions.
That really caught me off guard the first time when they're like, what's your name? And he was like, oh, I've been called a lot of things. And he's like, blah, blah, blah. And one of them was shit for brains, but they bleep it out. And it like really threw me. I was like, whoa.
Yeah. I mean, they did so much with this character, both in like the good way, both in like this guy's been like, shat on basically. And then he can also shit on other people with his verbiage, but like in like a nice way,
Yeah, he didn't know that they were actually yelling. He was just like, oh, what a fun game.
I know. He was like, oh,
He was like, you got her.
Yeah, right. Oh, I thought that was just fantastic. And then toward the end of the movie, when they were all on the star, when Perito was talking to Puss in Boots and he was like, maybe one life is enough. Yeah. And I was like, damn, like hit deep, bro. Like, you're right. It is enough. You don't need 9 lives, Puss in Boots. That kind of thing. And then also I thought again, so it kind of he went from like saying something sincere to like fucking around to something sincere to again like kind of fucking around when Perito was like he was trying really hard to make that begging face in front of Jack Horner.
Yeah.
And then it worked. And then Jack was like, oh, like, I don't know if you know this, but you have a nosebleed. And he was like, oh, I know. I was just, trying to distract you.
Yeah.
So I think Perito really was just like a great instrumental character in this movie. And yeah.
I agree.
I don't know if you watched it to like the very end, but there was again a quote unquote end credit scene where it was literally just Puss in Boots' voice. I think only his voice. Maybe he looked in the camera. I'm not sure. But he was basically like, oh, you're still here? And then he laughs and then the movie ends.
Oh, yeah, I missed that.
Yeah, he was like, oh, you're still here? And then the movie cuts off.
That's funny.
Yeah, but other than that, I don't have any other notes.
All right. Well, then I guess that means it's time for trivia.
Let's do it.
Just a handful of trivia here. But it says here, Goldilocks's dress starts off blue and multicolored. Wow, I'm having a hard time with pronunciation already. But as she starts to fit in and accept the bears as her real family, her dress changes to brown to fit in with their fur color.
What? Wait, really? Oh, that's so cool. I have to look that up. That's dope.
It says in the fight with the giant during one of the sweeping crowd shots, you can actually see the wolf in one of the alleyways.
In one of the what shots?
Like as when Puss is fighting the giant, and it shows there's like a few shots where it just shows the crowd like cheering for him.
Yeah.
And in one of those shots, you can see the wolf in the background watching.
Oh, wow. Dope. Okay.
Our next one here is when the wolf reveals his intentions at his first appearance. Puss in Boots was drinking his 9th cup while the rest are empty on the table. Obviously, the empty cups representing all of his lost lives, and the one that he's drinking is his last one.
Oh, wow. That's crazy.
And then during the death montage, how they have all those like number cards where it's like, oh, here's death number 3, and there's like the little drawing on it.
Yeah.
On the corners of those cards, the wolf and his sickles are visible. So further foreshadowing.
Oh, that's cool.
It's like just stylized enough where like if you didn't know, it would just like look like you wouldn't be able to tell immediately. But then when you go back, you're like, oh no, it's definitely there.
Yeah. Dang, okay. All these little like gimmicks that they hide in these movies, I really do enjoy, because like there's no fucking way I would be able to notice this either my first or second time watching it.
Yeah.
No way.
Yeah, that's our trivia. So
I love that. No, those were good. I like I actually just Googled the wolf and her dress color changing, and the wolf was in like the background of like this panning shot that they had in the movie.
Yeah.
Good trivia, man. Good trivia. I like those. Good polls.
Thank you. We will now move on to Get Wrecked. Obviously, y'all heard my recommendation earlier in this episode, but I'm going to go ahead and say it again. Watch the Antonio Banderas Zorro movies. I believe there's 3 of them. The first one is The Mask of Zorro, which came out in 1998. And then I think there's The Legend of Zorro and one other one that I don't remember. Is there only 2? I could have sworn there was 3. Honestly, don't remember. But at least watch The Mask of Zorro. That one's really good.
Okay. Well, that's a good recommendation. I wrote it down just to make note of it. My recommendation is for those people that like either have a car, but it is broken down and you don't have a rental, or for those people that just take Uber a lot because you don't have a car. There's this thing called Zipcar, and my buddy, I just told him about it this morning because I didn't know that he was taking Ubers every day to work, which is a lot of money here, especially where I live. You could have like a monthly subscription to the Zipcar service, which is basically like just get in their cars, you unlock it with your phone, you start it with your phone, and you just drive around and park it wherever you want. It's $9 a month, and you can drive like 180 miles per day. And then if you go over that, it's like 58 cents per mile after that. Or You can do like an annual yearly subscription, which is $90. And I think if you don't have a car and you can't afford one, or your car is like in the shop and you don't want to Uber everywhere for like $30-$40 every time, it's a great substitute. Even if you're somewhere like, let's say you fly to New York, maybe instead of taking, not New York, it's not a good example. You fly to Denver and you don't want to have a rental car or, take taxis everywhere or Ubers. Definitely look into Zipcar.
100%.
Yep. That is my rec.
Perfect. Well, then I would just like to say for our listeners, please be sure to subscribe to the podcast and leave us a review. Tell your friends and family about us. Follow us on Twitter and Instagram at CashFanPod. If you want to send us a message, you can do so on either of those platforms, or you can send an email to casualfanaticpodcast@gmail.com. Links for all of those are in the description. Luca, what kind of messages can they send us?
Please, please, please send us any recommendations for movies that you would want to see or hear us review. Let us know if there's good tips and tricks that you could see us adding into our podcast, or things that you'd like us to try. And basically send us anything. If you thought something was right, if you have a different opinion, send all of that in. We love reading them and love, making our podcast better for you, the listeners.
Perfect. Well, this has been Casual Fanatic. Thanks for listening.
Thanks for listening.